Hello. Hello, everyone. Let me know if you're here. We are live, oddly, on a Friday afternoon, which is not typical. I don't usually do an afternoon live stream, but that's just how it worked out with my schedule this time around. So, hope some of you are able to make it. And we have an interesting topic. It's one I don't plan on spending a ton of time on. I want to keep this as brief as I can. I'm not even sure how interested people would be in something like this, but it was on my mind for a while and I thought I'd make a little live stream about it. Cole on the sticks. What's up? Chef Symbol, if you're still here, good to see you. Jared Miller, welcome. Good to see you as always. Justin McDonald, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, if you're in here, if you're in the chat, go ahead and drop a comment. Let us know where you're coming from and what you might be wearing. Exactly what Jared said. Thank you as always, Jared. So we'll spend a minute or two on a little intro, let people trickle in, and then we'll get to the business at hand. And then I'm a little short on time. I have a lot of work to do on video editing today and trying to get it done before a certain time. So don't plan on taking up too much of your time. Hey Lee, hey Petra, H.J. Second Soul. Thank you so much, man. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, I hope you enjoy that. Ageless Water from Croatia. Would love to visit someday. In Ontario, basking in Memo Kotor. I don't know it. I don't know that one, but sounds great. Hey, Cam, good to see you. Sarah. Adonis Awakens is lovely. I also like Baccio, but Adonis is very, very nice and quite unique. Aromatherapy, L'Homme Ideal, okay. Petra's in Boston. Carol from Poland. All right. Lorenzo Pazaglia, Carbonara. I think I just was turned on to that brand recently. I might have something coming from them. Marco from Serbia. Good to see you. Nate with Coffee Break. Daltrin coming from Katie. Alton, good to see you. Beau de jour, good stuff. Nothing wrong with a regular day. At least nothing is catastrophic. Cam, Portrait of the Lady. Man, Portrait of a Lady is something I am ashamed to say I still have not tried. I've been meaning to try it for years now, and I need to just give it a try. Iris Malikan, I've heard good stuff. L'Immensité is nice. I like that one. That one is nice. Danae from Islis, Sin of the Day. Love that one. Nigel's coming from Nigel is coming from the ATL. All right. Detroit, Warren Ojan, good stuff. Husband and father of two. Norm from Michigan, Amouroud Imitation. I still got to try that one too. That one has interested me for a minute. From Maryland, Antoine, always good to see you. Mig Escobar, Authenticity, L'Homme Riche. All right. Peda Donnelly, Sublime Beneath from Creed. All right. Don't see the talk of that one very much these days. Dalton's wearing the siren. Internet Explorer is saying he can't believe I've never tried it. Yes, I've been saying I need to hop on it for years. Lalique Homage. I still haven't tried that one, but good stuff, Greg. I heard great things. YSL Eau de Parfum. YSL Eau de Parfum. Are you talking about Y? What exactly is that? JN. Burlington 19. Love that stuff. All right. Food for Glory. Jared is here from Michigan. Nate, Hypnotizing Fire. Thanks to my friend Cam, I have tried Hypnotizing Fire. And it's nice. In fact, a lot of the fragrances from Harmonist are really nice. I need to revisit my Discovery set. Thank you again, Cam. Code EDP, Versace, Eros, Dior Purple Oud. Haven't tried that one. So the Bond number 9, Dubai Indigo. All right, Eau Givray. Good stuff for the summer. Hot weather. Nishane Favonius. I don't know that one, actually. But I'm interested because I love the house. Okay, I think we'll maybe get to maybe 75 people in the stream. Let a few more trickle in before we get started into the main event. And again, it's something I want to try to make very brief for you and just put out there and have it be archived here on YouTube. And those of you who are here to see it live would love to know what you think. Pardon, Daltrin. Daltrin, I thought you said you were wearing the siren, unless you're asking pardon. Actually, I'm not sure. Hey, Kevin Mitchell. Ganymede and Elysium. I'm not a layer guy, but I can see that being interesting. L'Homme Eau de Parfum. Got it. Or maybe you mean the Intense? Is it the black bottle? I don't know if there's an Eau de Parfum exactly. There is the original, there's the Intense, there is the low, whatever. So maybe you're talking about that black bottle. Sunset Oud. Wait, Daltrin, what are these fragrances you're listing off? Exactly. You've listed a few now. Which one are you wearing? Are you layering all of them? Dasein Winter. Love it. Love that stuff. Okay. Jared, thank you once again. Appreciate it. Yeah. If you guys want to hit the like button, it's totally free and it costs like no calories. So consider it if you like this kind of content. Okay, let's get started here. So this title is a little odd, right? The worst thing about loving fragrances or being a fragrance lover, whatever I wrote. And, again, this is something that's been on my mind for a little bit. I've been collecting, discovering, whatever you want to call it, fragrances, different fragrances for years now. And it's been very exciting. It's an eye-opening world. The more you smell, the more you learn. And the more you smell, the more you learn, the more you want to smell and learn. It truly is a rabbit hole. You just can go deeper and deeper. But you learn not only more about perfumery, but in learning more about your tastes, you learn more about yourself. And, on this life path we're on, whatever life path you're on, one of our, I think, major pursuits is a greater awareness of self. So we're not going that deep, though. I don't know why I took it there, but yeah, I think some of you might agree. So I've had, if I really think about it, I've had probably over 1,000 fragrance bottles come through my collection, some of which I still have, a lot of which I don't. That's a lot of fragrances. Definitely not the most out there, but I'd say definitely more than the average person and even more than the average frag head, perhaps. And I've learned so much by smelling all these fragrances. So again, that's a lot to smell. And that's just bottles. We're not even talking about decants and samples and whatnot. And even just trying stuff out in stores, that's more experiences that are hard to log without having something physical that you can catalog. So even in the midst of learning so much, I'm looking at some notes here. That's why I'm looking off to the side just to keep things on track. This is the part that sucks about it in terms of collecting, in terms of finding what you like and attaining it and having it and enjoying it. The thing that sucks about it, to sum it all up, is that you find fragrances that you love. You really, really, truly love. They move you in some way. Maybe they don't move others, but they resonate with you. But even then, they can be forgotten. I have a number of fragrances, and I have 10 of them here, which I'll be sharing with you in a moment, that at one point or another, I have truly loved. And not to say I don't love them anymore, but they have been sitting. They are, again, kind of forgotten. They've been wasting away, so to speak. They've collected dust. They've collected all kinds of interesting spots on them, and they kind of waste away again. So, like I said, it's not like my love for them has waned. It has changed for sure, but I've had other new things come into the collection, on a very rapid basis that have seized my attention. And naturally, I think you only have so much bandwidth for things you're focused on, for things that you can truly pour your passion into and that you can let actually give you, that you can receive from them as well. So naturally, some things get left behind. Not this, again, a lot of these fragrances I'll be talking about, I've had for years, and they're still good. I still maybe will smell them from the atomizer here and there, but if I'm going to wear something for the day, they may not be my first choice simply because I have newness. We're always looking for new things. It's hard for the brain to stay stuck on one thing for a long time without change, without that thing changing or evolving. I see Nigel's asking, do fragrances go bad? The answer is yes. Fragrances can go bad, but the context is really what matters the most. We're not really talking about lifespan or shelf life of fragrances today, but to answer your question, again, it really depends on storage. It depends on three main components. Are they being kept out of direct light, or are they being kept in a temperature controlled environment, being mostly on the cool side, and are they being kept in a dry place? If that's the case, then you have a good chance of that fragrance lasting decades. Honestly, decades. Now, that's not to say it won't change over time. It will. Some of the top notes could disappear, or things could change, and the scent won't, may not be the same. It might even get stronger, and it's kind of unpredictable to figure out exactly how a scent will change over time if you have it for a long time. But all that being said, if you store it right, it can last. Okay, let's keep it going. So if those of you who've been following my channel for the last 4 years, maybe not even that long, you may have I have made it known that there was a period of time where I got rid of a lot of my fragrances. And there were some reasons behind that. But even after that point in time, I have still had moments where I have shuffled a lot of things out of my collection. And the reason why is because I'm not really one who enjoys excess. I mean, you see all these fragrances behind me. That's a portion of them. And there's more over here to my left here. Being a fragrance reviewer is an interesting thing for me because I am not one who likes to have a lot of things, but this kind of comes with the territory, and it is something I'm grateful for. But, there's some days where I look at it and I'm like, oh man, this is what I've done. But at the same time, it's pretty manageable. It's all contained in this one space. I can close the door and I don't even see it. But I think a lot of you can maybe relate to that. You don't truly love having hundreds of things because you're only one person, and you can really only enjoy one, maybe two or three at a time if you like to layer. And that is interesting. Anyway, so I've had a lot of fragrances that I've gotten rid of. I've moved them on, either gifted them or sold them or whatever it may be. And the reason has been because those are fragrances that maybe I wasn't wearing. I wasn't enjoying them. They weren't truly moving me. I only just liked them. I didn't love them. There could always be a reason at any point in time. And even then, those reasons are very variable because, say, for instance, I kept one of those fragrances at that point in time rather than selling it. Who knows? Maybe later I would love it. In fact, one of those fragrances, I'll just share it now. We don't have to do is completely sequential, is this one from Acqua di Parma, Fico di Amalfi. Believe it or not, this fragrance was on the chopping block for a period of time. Several years ago, I bought it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. And then in the midst of getting rid of a bunch of fragrances, this one was going to go too. It was up for sale, but no one bought it. I think everyone bought everything else that I had, but they did not buy this. So I said, you know what? I'll keep it. And now I love it. And I'm glad I didn't sell it. So you never know where you are in time, how that will affect what you feel about your fragrances. So, and again, it's not like it was a challenging scent that I had to grow into. It, for whatever reason, it didn't move me. But now I really love it. For the summertime, I found a great function for it. Vulcanist, thank you so much for the super chat. Wearing ultra red. I have that one somewhere. That's a nice scent. Thank you so much for your support. I do want to keep an eye on your comments. Thank you so much, Scott, for Second Soul. Appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoy it. Okay. So again, all this to say, let's see. I just want to go through my notes, make sure I'm getting everything here. Yeah, so this is really honest. I'm going to share something very honest with you. And the last thing I wanted to do is to, make you think I'm not grateful for what I have. But sometimes I do envy those people who might have like 15 bottles. I can remember what that time was like. That feels like lifetimes ago. But I remember that feeling. And all I remember is at the time it felt like too little. I felt like I needed more. So that's what continued from there. But now that I'm looking back, I kind of envy that, of having that kind of simplicity. However, as I was kind of alluding to earlier, being a fragrance reviewer, being a credible fragrance reviewer in today's YouTube climate for fragrance, kind of, a prerequisite is having a large and growing library of scents. And I totally accept that. And again, I'm grateful for it. So I just wanted to use this video to tell you, to share with you 10 fragrances in my collection, that some of which I've had for a very long time. And I've loved since I've had them, but I don't wear them anymore. Some of them, they're kind of forgotten. They're sitting in the back. I had to reach way back there to get them. And it just made me a little sad for a moment. I'm like, man, this is too bad. This is a great scent. There's nothing wrong with it. It's simply the context of me getting new stuff that is the reason for me not wearing it, not because I don't like it. And because, again, I'm one person, I wear one fragrance at a time. In the summertime, when it's hot, when I'm taking multiple showers a day, I might wear 2 or 3. But again, just I live one day at a time, just like you. I wear one fragrance at a time, like most of you. And some of them just kind of get forgotten. So we're going to just go through these, one of which I already shared with you, which was Acqua di Parma Fico di Amalfi. So we have 9 more to go. And if you are interested in any of these fragrances, I have them linked down in the description of the video, some of which you can actually get samples for. A lot of them are available at Decant X, which is a great place. And then I have some other links for like FragBuy and Maxaroma and Jomashop for you to get bottles if you're interested. They are affiliate links, as it says. So if you want to support the channel with no extra cost for you, you can consider making purchases at those links. Okay, before we get into the list, let me make sure I'm not missing any pertinent comments here. Again, thank you all for being here for this very interesting topic. Well, I think it's interesting. I didn't expect a lot of you to feel that way. Sarah Glenn, keeping all my samples, even if I don't like them at first. Yeah, you never know how your taste will change. Boogie Daddy. Okay. Seller's remorse. I will say this. I've never had seller's remorse. I mean, remorse is kind of a severe word, so, and maybe this is semantics, but I'm kind of a believer that I don't really need any of this stuff. I don't need it. It's not even a source of joy for me. It is. It brings me happiness for sure, and it brings me intrigue and stimulation for sure. But I could live without it all. This is just the cherry on top of life, so to speak. And I have yet to. I have a few fragrances that maybe I'll do a highlight later, because some of them I'm actually reacquiring. There are a few fragrances that I once had that I got rid of that I reacquired later, not because I was like, I have a void in my heart and I need to get them back. But over time, I started to miss them. Like, you know what? I do like that scent. I want to rediscover it. So I might get it again, but nothing's keeping me up at night. Okay, here's one. Tommy Cologne, Tommy for Men by Tommy Hilfiger, perfumed by Alberto Marias. Funny little backstory. My perfumer for Brass and Soul and Second Soul, Vincent Kuczynski, we once talked on the phone, And we're talking about Tommy. I don't remember how we got on the topic of it, but he had told me that back during the time when Hilfiger was about to put this out, and they were putting out the word to basically have perfumers submit bids for the fragrance. So they had to, they got a brief, and I think they had to create their interpretation of it and submit it to be considered for the final fragrance, or at least for the foundation of the scent, and to be named the perfumer. And my perfumer actually did submit something for this. And then he said they chose Alberto, and he said it was great. I'm happy they chose his because it was really good. But I thought that was really cool to be connected to someone who could have, who does have ties with this scent. Anyway, this fragrance is purely nostalgic for me. I don't wear it anymore. Maybe I'll wear it sometime this summer. It's purely nostalgia in a bottle. I remember smelling this as a kid. I didn't wear it as a kid, but I smelled it on a lot of my friends' older brothers. And I never knew what it was until, I want to say, maybe 4 years ago, when I happened to just get it on a whim. I smelled it, and then all the memories flooded back. And I realized, oh, this is that fragrance that I've been smelling my whole life. So it was just funny to have that moment completely by accident. And I have loved wearing it ever since I got it, but it sits now. There's other stuff that interests me more, but when I do want to tap into kid Justin, I might smell this, and it's really, really nice. Here's one. This one is very special because this was the first fragrance I ever went after I started watching YouTube videos on fragrance. I didn't know that was a thing until I found it, and then I fell head first and started watching a ton of videos. And I got really inspired to start building my collection. So what did I do? I went to Macy's, my local Macy's, right away, and I started smelling what was there. And this was the first fragrance I think I actually sprayed. No, it wasn't, but it was the first one I sprayed that got my attention. It was love at first sniff. I actually had to buy it right then and there, which was, looking back, not the best idea, because I could have got it cheaper online, but I didn't know that. But I had to buy it. I sprayed it. I looked at the sales associate in the eye who was watching me spray it, and I told her, I'm like, this is amazing. I looked her right in the eye, and she was like, cool. You want to buy it? She was totally freaked out. YSL L'Homme, the original L'Homme. Now, you see, there is a little bit of a dent in this bottle. I have put some wear into it, but it has been a couple years at least since I last wore it. But this is also quite a bit nostalgic, mainly because it was like the beginning of my fragrance collecting journey and my discovery of it. And I was smelling it, and I think I smelled the ginger, and it smells a little apple-like, and I get some woods in there, and it's quite sweet with tonka bean. It's a little fresh. This is like a soft, fresh, woody, sweet, spicy, not even that spicy, zingy, more zingy kind of scent. Very soft around the edges, very easy to like, kind of a gentleman scent, one that's not super loud, one that is very respectable. Lovely stuff. And I don't really wear it. I don't really wear it anymore. And it makes me sad. Not to say I don't feel like I have the capability. I can totally decide to wear it. But there's other things calling my name, because there's always new stuff to try. Anybody else have nostalgic fragrances in your collection that you simply don't wear? You love them, and you'll smell them from time to time, but you're not going to really wear them because you have other things that interest you. Again, newness is kind of addictive. And I think newness can be dangerous, because that is what keeps a lot of us buying and acquiring more than we need to. As I've said before, I don't think, I've seen some people say well, I'm addicted to fragrances. I'm a true fragrance lover, and that's why I keep getting stuff. I'm like, no, you love fragrances, yes, but I don't think that means you're addicted to fragrances. I think that means you're addicted to getting new things. As long as you're buying, you're at peace. And if you're not buying, there's some anxiety there, and you're like, I need to look for something new. They're very different. There's definitely a thin line. Okay. Scent Fumes also wishes he had 15 bottles. He or she. I apologize. They also wish they had 15 bottles. That's cool. I'm buying 20 to 30 ml bottles. Yep, I've been about that life. I don't really stick to it quite as rigorously as I have before, but if I can get the 30 mil, I'm getting it. If I get the 50 mil, definitely over the 100. I'm doing that. Have I ever had fragrances turning bad? Not personally. I have had fragrances change, but not necessarily go bad because I keep them in dark, cool, and dry environments all the time. 2007 bottle. Man, that is some vintage. That's vintage. I think it came out maybe 05, 06. So that is a vintage bottle. This is a 2016, maybe 2015, but most likely 2016 bottle. So it's kind of vintage, newer vintage. Sarah, yep, totally get it. I've been here. It is a dopamine hit. You know, I've talked about this. You can get that new haul. They all the fragrances arrive, and it's like, oh my gosh, all this newness contained in one box. You open it up. You open up each box, you spray them all, you experience them. You're like, oh man, that was incredible. And then they go up onto your shelf with the rest. And then maybe, you know, over the course of that first month, you'll really prioritize those and you'll find places to wear them and times to wear them. And oh, I'm going to wear this one today. Meanwhile, all your others are collecting dust already because you've already started a new rotation. And then after that month is up, even those fragrances are now old. They're not quite hitting the same way. And then we're looking for a new haul. So nothing wrong with that. It's mostly harmless, but as long as you're aware of it happening, you can at least space it out because we can do things very quickly here. We feel this need to buy quickly, especially as we continue to watch videos. So my biggest thing is there's no hurry. There is no hurry. Let's keep it going. Next fragrance. This one is kind of a pillar of my channel. It's one that I'm kind of known for, and it has been a long time love. This is Varvatos Vintage. Believe it or not, I don't remember the last time I wore this. I love it. I love the scent. I love what it kind of did to my palate when I first smelled it at a Sephora. I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed it. Got it a few months later. This very bottle. This is the only bottle I've ever owned. I'm going to spray it because I want to smell it. This is lovely. Yeah, I'll never forget like spraying it at a Sephora, sniff it, and having to come back like, wait a minute. Oh, this is good. And I didn't even buy it right then and there, but I knew I had to get it, and I did. It's like spicy, kind of fruity, aromatic, but like rich suede leather, and it's just very well blended. It's just kind of a gentleman's scent. It could be kind of like sexy, mature in a way. Really, really nice. Let's see. I have a decently large collection. The way I deal with this is that I have a dish where I set out the ones I want to pay extra attention to. I routinely switch them out to wear them all. I have a similar thing. In fact, my computer is sitting on top of another cabinet that has some smaller cupboards. And in those cupboards, I will put fragrances that are on my docket, the new ones that I'm looking at, ones I need to review, ones I need to get more acquainted with. And that keeps things cycling for sure. But even then, I still haven't worn vintage in like 3 years, probably. Hey, Mr. Veteran Vlogs, UPO Aspen, 1992 bottle. Wow. Okay. Persephone's Dad. I do have an email address. It is on my channel if you go on my channel page, but if you want it, it is thestayfreshproductions@gmail.com. The Stay Fresh Productions. So you can send me an email there. Okay, let's keep going. This is one I honestly forgot I had until yesterday when I was looking for fragrances to feature in this live. And I'm like, well, this is the hallmark example. I forgot I had this. And I wouldn't say it's the most special, but it is discontinued from what I understand. And I think it's lovely. It's very uplifting. From Guerlain, this is called Herba Fresca. Any of you tried this one? This is a beautiful green mint. To be honest, it smells a little bit like chewing gum, a little bit like spearmint chewing gum. But it's very, very uplifting on the skin around you rather than up close in the air, especially on a hot day. Very cooling and fresh, but very herbaceous. Maybe some citrus in there. Maybe a little bit of a kind of soft floral touch to it. Almost makes it slightly powdery, but overall, very, very edible mint. I'll say that more so than like the mint you would smell out in a garden or something like that. It's beautiful. And again, I think it's discontinued now. So I'm happy to have the bottle, but I got to wear the dang thing. Otherwise, what's the point of having it? I'm not one who finds value in something that is meant to be used, but you have it just to let it sit. That's not something I'm really about, because what's the point? You're going to expire, or it will expire, whichever one comes first. Okay, we're halfway through the list. Making good time. I regret not buying it for €30. Yeah, when I got mine, it was very, very cheap. And this was like 2018. I don't remember exactly. Yeah, it was about 2018. Are Louis Vuitton fragrances worth the price tag? Park Ave, you can be the true determiner of that. You got to try them first. If you're asking other people, and myself included, I will say no, they're not. And that's just me, at least not all of them. Some of them are too simple. They smell too mainstream. They smell too much like fragrances that you can get for cheaper. And that's not worth $250 to me. Although there are some other ones that are a little bit more interesting, maybe like the Oud line is a little better. Yeah, don't like them getting dusty. Yeah, they get dusty, and you can wipe them off all you want, but if you're still not wearing them, they're going to get dusty again. Here's one. I'm getting some dust off of this one. This is Dior Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette. I used to wear this one a bit. You can see the dent. And I don't know what it was that drew me to this. I was obsessed with it for, maybe a good half a year. And I still really love this scent. I think it is a timeless classic. It doesn't really smell dated to me. It definitely smells mature. Perhaps they've altered the formula with time. It came out in like the 60s, the original formula. So maybe it's changed. But citrus aromatic, has a little bit. There's something in there that smells a little bit older man, a little bit more experienced for sure. It is a put together type of freshness. And it's not very strong, which I don't need that. I have the Parfum version, which is stronger. So this is perfect for that. But there's other fragrances I'm reaching for that achieve this, that might even have a little bit more interest. It's not the most complex scent, but it is pretty unique and interesting and just well crafted. But again, don't really wear it. And I'm glad I made this video, because this is reminding me, like, these are great scents. I enjoy them. I do need to make the effort to wear them, because it does take effort. We can't just think it's just going to happen. Like, you got to make effort to do the stuff that you wouldn't normally do. Let's see. MG is asking, what exactly does aromatic mean? Aren't all scents aromatic? That's a great question. In the world of perfumery, aromatic is a family. They're essentially referring to particular ingredients that are used in most fragrances to give some kind of freshness. It could be herbs, it could be spices, green notes in some ways. Some florals have an aromatic quality. Generally, it can be a freshness. And a lot of fragrances use this type of freshness, especially in the top notes. So yes, a lot of scents can be aromatic, but to be considered an aromatic as like a classification, it really depends on what's in there. Hope that makes sense. Fragrantica also explains it pretty well. If you want to go to there and look at the notes section, they talk about notes and families and all that. Do I like any Initio fragrances? I do like a few of them. Some of them I've tried. I have Side Effect. That one is pretty nice. It's a little simple for me, but I do enjoy it when I wear it. I can definitely say I'm addicted to buying fragrances, blind buys, which is worse. Acknowledgement is the first step. It's never too late to make a change. What's up, Tony? Is it like Beau de Jour? No, this is not quite like Beau de Jour. This is more based on citruses and herbs, whereas Beau de Jour is more based on lavender, oak moss. It's much more mossy, maybe a little bit more dry smelling. You know, it's a different experience, but still fresh, but a different type of fresh. Let's keep it going. This is one that maybe some of you have never heard of. I actually did a dedicated review on it several years ago. I've talked about it here and there. It's probably been at least a year since it was in a video, but it's lovely. I put it on my hand today just to remind myself. I sprayed it several hours ago. This is from a little niche house called David Jourquin, and he calls this Cuir Tabac, leather tabac, essentially. Now, if you're wondering, is it anything like Zaharoff's leather tabac? No, it's not. It's not quite like that at all. This is this very simple but beautiful kind of sweet, supple, incensey, smooth leather, almost resinous and ambery in a way. When I first smelled it, I was reminded of something like Grand Soir from MFK, but the more I smelled it, no, it's not quite like that in its quality, but in its resinous quality, I should say. But it does have this smooth kind of warm sweetness to it that's really nice. And it's a lovely scent. I just don't really reach for it anymore. There's others that are a little bit more interesting, but the quality here is stunning. Again, there's links to everything I'm talking about down in the description if you want to keep track of the fragrances that I'm talking about here. They're all listed down there with links. Do I like Roger Elysium more than Cologne? I haven't tried the original, or I haven't tried the Parfum version of Elysium. I only have the Parfum Cologne. Are there any scents that aren't considered aromatic? Yes, indeed. Yeah, any scents that don't have aromatic ingredients that are, the ones that are classified as aromatic ingredients in perfumery. If they don't have those, then they don't have an aromatic component, which means that they're not considered aromatics. So, I mean, that range of fragrances is massive. So there's just as many. When did you get into smell vetiver, patchouli, jasmine, etc.? People always say wild notes, but I'm curious when we've actually smelled them. I mean, early on, you start to detect these notes because they're very commonly used. These three in particular, Angelo, they're commonly used in a lot of fragrances. So you're going to come across them even early on. Some of them will feature them more forward. Early, as soon as I started smelling fragrances, one of my first fragrance loves along the way was Gray Vetiver from Tom Ford. I had to get a bottle of that, and that really kind of jump-started my love for vetiver. Let's see. Is that a faux leather bottle wrap? I believe it is, but it feels very supple and very nice. But I believe it is. It's not the real thing, but it could be. I'm actually not sure. That's a great question. In fact, this bottle, I think it technically slides out. I think I've done it before. I'm not going to do it right now. Chuck T, thank you so much for the super chat. I haven't tried the infusion line. I've been meaning to try that, especially the iris one, and I didn't know there was a vetiver one. I need to try that myself. That sounds awesome. Let's keep it going. We got 3 more fragrances. Again, I'm a little bit short on time, so I do apologize for slightly rushing. This next one up is coming from Amouroud, not a house that gets a ton of talk on YouTube these days, but they have a number of lovely scents. One of my absolute favorite vetiver fragrances is from them, called Lunar Vetiver. This is one based on some incense, some sandalwood, maybe some, is it Immortelle? There's something in that realm, like that curry almost feel, but it's beautifully sweet, creamy, woody. Santal des Indes from Amouroud. I haven't actually sprayed this in a minute. Again, I kind of forgot about it. Even within this brand, there's others I love, and this is one of them. But again, it's so easy to not see it on the shelf. Yeah, this is awesome. It might even have some like absinthe or something in it. So unique. In fact, all the fragrances from, it's on my hand, not all of them, but most of them are extremely unique. I haven't smelled anything quite like this. This is good stuff. It's perfectly viable. I have no reason to not wear this. Honestly, it's very interesting. It's very different. So again, it's just like it can be overwhelming when I open up this cabinet and I have to choose something. Again, that's what we're talking about. These forgotten loves. Beautiful bottles. Same house as Santal Royal. Jared, which are you talking about? Guerlain? Which one? What are you talking about exactly? Yeah, you can do aromatherapy. You can buy these oils separately and get used to them. Should we shake fragrances before spraying? No, Nigel, you don't need to shake them. They're ready to go. Anthony Ellison, thank you so much for the super chat. Recommendations for a vodka fragrance. One of the most popular ones, of course, is Vodka on the Rocks from Killian. That one is just okay to me. It doesn't outright smell like vodka, but there is this kind of cooling booziness to it that is really refreshing. But overall, it smells a little bit simple for the price. Another fragrance that does have vodka in it, I think it's like Tommy Bahama's Set Sail St. Bart's, or maybe that's tequila. That might be tequila. I don't know a ton of vodka-based fragrances in terms of boozy notes. If you guys know any others, put it in the chat. Okay, 2 more fragrances, and then we're getting out of here. This next one, I also did a dedicated review on years back. This is a stunning vanilla fragrance. It is quite a unique one, has a very unique function, and just kind of paints a picture in a beautiful way. This is Juliet Has a Gun, Vanilla Vibes. This one still gets some talk here and there today. This is an immensely powerful scent. It is so nice. On one hand, if you frame it right, it smells like you're out under the sun on the beach. It's hot. The sand is hot. You're almost smelling like the arid quality of the sand. It's dry. But you're also getting this saltiness from the skin. It's like you have suntan oil on. You get a little bit of this coconut feel. It's kind of salty, like, you know, the skin naturally being salty. And it is sweet with vanilla, but it is an airy, dry, coconutty, sweet, creamy still. Vanilla, though. It's incredible. Lovely stuff. Great for the summertime. Some might consider it a little bit feminine, but I think it's awesome. I think it's perfectly unisex. And it captivates me when I smell it, if I can remember to pick it up. Again, it's so easy to forget that you have these great fragrances sitting in your collection collecting dust. Is it comparable to Nishane Ani? Jeff, which one are you talking about? I apologize. Work with Jacques Cavalier. Yes, I know I am, but I can't think of what exactly I've smelled of his that I know he made. I know I have some fragrances that he definitely had a hand in, but I just can't think of them right now. Let's see here. I tried Juliet Has a Gun. Pear. No, I have not, Chuck. Sounds like it's good, though. Yeah, Nash. It's good stuff. Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of people say it's feminine, but again, I don't really think it is either. All right, final fragrance, and then I'm gonna let you guys go, and I gotta get to work. From Creed. I don't, again, similar to Eau Sauvage from Dior, I don't know exactly what it is that drew me to this scent. It's a little bit old school smelling. There's something that smells a little early 90s about it. And I think it did come out in the 90s. And it's definitely not the strongest performer. It's not even like the most interesting. It wears a little bit simple, but for what it is, the quality's great. And it's an easy to wear fresh fragrance if you like, slightly more mature or refined leaning scents. This is called Royal Water. Let me know if you guys have tried this one. This one doesn't get a ton of talk. I got it several years ago. I don't know why. Again, I was obsessed with it. Purely obsessed. A lot of basil in here. Wow. Yeah, it's like fresh, citrusy, but very, very herbal. A lot of basil, very green in that way. Something almost like soapy. I do get maybe a touch of like an ambergris feel. There's this interesting kind of slightly salty musk floating around. Comes out more in the skin as it dries. It changes quite a bit as it dries. Pretty simplistic. as far as niche goes, but the overall profile is kind of unique. It doesn't remind me directly of anything else, but I wouldn't call it a special scent. If I'm going to wear something for the warmer weather on a hot day, something refined, I have others I might reach for before this, but nonetheless, I loved this at one point. I still do, but it got lost in the shuffle, and that affects me in a certain way. Some people don't really care. Like, hey, yeah, whatever, who cares? Just wear what you love. Sure, but at what cost? And it's hard for me to get behind, at least for myself, just like having a ton of fragrances that sit, because there's no value there. They literally lose value as they degrade. At least for me, I'm not trying to resell every fragrance I'm not wearing, but nonetheless, I think you get what I'm talking about here. Definitely has juniper berries as well, Austin. I believe it does. I believe you're right. Platinum Egoist, I haven't actually smelled it in years. I need to try it. Kinyarda. Once again, it's called Royal Water from Creed. Again, all the fragrances I'm talking about are in the description. All 10 of them are listed down there. So they're cataloged forever until YouTube disappears or they take this video down. Okay, well, guys, I appreciate all of you guys hanging out with me on this, unusual topic, and maybe some of you could relate to it. Maybe some of you don't really care. It's fine, but I think it is interesting. It's important to be critical and to be purposeful about what you do with your fragrance journey. There's a question that I apply to every aspect of my life at most moments of my life, especially when, I'm making a decision or I'm trying to make a change in my life. The question is, why do you do what you do? We rarely ask ourselves that. Other people might ask us that, and we don't want to be vulnerable to everyone because it hurts our ego to be wrong and have someone else be right and tell us something we need to do that we're not doing. But we need to be able to ask ourselves, why do you do what you do? Why are you buying fragrances every 2 weeks? Just because you can? That's fine, but is that a good enough reason? Anyway, got my next video coming on tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then Sunday, but I'm aiming for tomorrow. It's going to be interesting, a little different. So open your minds. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you'll take the time to check it out. Nonetheless, thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate you guys and your viewership and your support. And I will definitely be in touch with more content. Y'all take care.